right. Can you put this up there for me? Hello, good morning. Good morning. All right. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so y'all get to see a little bit of the Facebook setup. Yes. Good to see y'all. Uh-oh. What happened? Here we go. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Go ahead and invite some folks, guys, while we get revved up to get Facebook in on the mix. Go ahead and invite some folks. All right. Facebook, let's get y'all started. Okay. We can work from home. How many of y'all working from home? Why are you looking like that? That's the name of the song. It's called Work From Home.
I'm not sure what's going on here. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at you.
Oh, I thought you were talking to them.
Because when I said, how many of y'all work from home? You look like, huh?
No, I was looking at the camera and I looked at you.
Ah, you so funny. You so funny, Chunga Cooper. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, shoot. This thing is like, this thing is tight. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, 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 everybody. Hello, everybody. Good to see you guys. Everybody go to work. Work from Fifth Harmony. Good morning, everyone. All right, we're going to get started in just 1 second. I was trying to see if I can find something. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Listen to Work From Home and invite some folks. Oh, it's a rough song. I'm used to the radio versions. I'm used to the radio versions. What do you do? It's not trap music. Yeah, you try to, I don't know where that is. All right, let's get it started. Hey, 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 everybody. Work, trap music. My husband don't know what trap music is, y'all. This is not trap music. This is pop music. Good morning, everyone. I like this song too, but listen, I listen to the radio versions of stuff. I don't usually hear the explicit side of things. Call me a cornball if you want to. So a lot of times Spotify doesn't let you censor explicit from clean. And so when I use Spotify, we end up with this. So anyway, good morning, everybody. Good to see all of you. Hello, 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 everyone. I'm excited to be here with you guys once again. I think this thing is crooked. Excited to be with you guys here live for the Rise, Grind, and Shine show. And today is what, Wednesday? Look, y'all, this is cool. Y'all get to see Facebook, the little back of the camera. Periscope does. But this is Wednesday. I think it's the 20th. April 20th, y'all. We're in the third quarter of the year. The second quarter of the year, fourth month. And it's time to make things happen. This morning, I want to talk to you guys really quickly about my 3 favorite books. I have a lot of books that I love. Y'all hear me talk about books all the time, and people are always asking me about book recommendations. The irony is I can't find any of them, right? We cleaned out my office, and I had to downsize my books. And these books are somewhere floating around in a box or something to get placed in a position where it is orderly and not taking over my office. But this morning I want to talk to you guys about my 3 favorite books and some lessons that I've learned from them and why I recommend you guys actually reach out to invest in these books and actually incorporate them in your life. But if this is your first time here, I want to welcome you to the Rise, Grind, and Shine show. We actually have this set up where we talk to Periscope over here. We got Facebook Live streaming here, and my husband is behind us with the camera and doing the audio so that this can be on our podcast. It can be on YouTube, and all of you who want to see the replay, you can catch it on NicoleSCooper.com/YouTube or follow me on Facebook. at Nicole S. Cooper. All right, so good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello from wherever you are chiming in from. Glad you guys are here. And if this is your first time here and you want to stay plugged in into our community, make sure that you join us at joinmycommunity.com. That's joinmycommunity.com, where you can get plugged in into our inner circle and get access to a lot of things that we share with you there and some insight and things that we give you. So this morning, I want to go through a couple of things. I want to go through my 3 favorite books. And I also want to go through a few lessons that I learned from them, all right? And the reason why I'm going through this is because many of you guys know that I read a lot of books. And I read books because I tell people books are my mentors, right? Many of you guys are saying you might want somebody in your life to coach you or show you how to do certain things in your life. And you're wondering, where do you go to find a mentor? Well, the first best place to find them is on the shelf. Because a lot of times there's lessons and things that you can learn from books that will help you in your everyday life. And if you come across people too, you want actual real live people in your life supporting you. But I want to talk to you guys about how these books have actually changed my life and why I recommend that you put them on your shelf, but also crack them open and read them. All right. Now, my first and favorite book, one of the first and favorite books of all time is The Dream Giver. Okay? The Dream Giver. Now, of course, I don't have the book in front of me. I should have the book in front of me, but I don't, right? But I talk about it a lot. So anyway, you guys can go and research it. The Dream Giver is by Bruce Wilkinson, okay? Bruce Wilkinson, not Wilkerson, Bruce Wilkinson. And what I love about this book was given to me in a stage in my life of turmoil, okay? Me and my husband, we were on the brink of, we had just kind of went through the stage of losing everything. And we just didn't know where to pick up the scraps and where to move forward. And so a mentor of ours, he was like a marriage counselor for us, but like a father figure to us. And he gave me that book. He said, I want you to read this book. I think that you'll find some inspiration in the book. And so I read the book. And if you've never read The Dream Giver before, I'll just paraphrase it really quickly of what I loved about it. It was about a young man that lived in the land of the familiar amongst a bunch of nobodies, that's what they were called, and he wanted to become a somebody. And the whole book's journey talks about his exploration and leaving the land of the familiar, okay, to hit the border bullies when he wanted to leave that place where all of his family was saying, no, stay, you gotta stay, we love you, you're comfortable here, why try new territory, right? Whatever they were saying. And he went past the border bullies into the land of the unfamiliar, into a series of chapters that he explored things, the dark and scary side of the unknown, the coming face to face with things that you have to do to grow, to finally reaching a land where he was able to operate in his destiny. And what I loved, it's a fairy tale, right? It's like a fable. It is a, I forgot, what is the two types of books? Whatever, it'll come later. Fiction versus nonfiction. It is fiction. But it's a book that teaches us about life. It's a parable about life. How many of you are living in the land of the familiar amongst a bunch of people who can care less about being somebody and they're okay with being like everybody else to the point where they become non-existent and become a nobody? It doesn't mean to be derogatory towards people, but a lot of times, many of us live in that kind of environment, right? You're in a surrounding environment where everybody is used to living a life of keeping everything the same, routine. They drive the same way to work every day. They drink the same cup of coffee every day. Everything's the same. They watch the same shows every week. They have the same conversations about the shows over the water. What is it? The water, whatever, right? For coffee break, they all talk about these shows, whatever, right? They're used to being nobodies in the land of the familiar. They don't have a desire to break that code to get beyond the border bullies into the land of the unfamiliar. Unfortunately, that is called that is called the world that we live in, right? It's the 97 percenters versus the 3 percenters. And there are 3% of us that are like, get me out of here. I want to become somebody. And what that book taught me was that there are going to be, in your journey to your greatness, you're going to step into unknown territories. You're going to have to leave the things that are familiar to go into a place of exploration, even if it is scary and dark and unknown. But when you go through that process, if you break out of that land of that familiar, you'll be guided into your own destiny, right? You'll end up coming across these different explorations that will position you to operate in your destiny. And so I can go on and on, but I don't want to make this a long speech about it. I love the book. I highly recommend that you guys go and pick that book up. All right. It's called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. Listen, I love that book so much that when it was done, I wrote a letter to the author. I never sent it, asking him, would he mind if I became an advocate and traveled the world talking about that book? Like, that's how much I love that book. I was so excited. Like, I was like, I gotta write him. And I think he lives in South Africa. And I was like, I gotta find his address. And I gotta ask him, is he okay with me taking this book and going on tour and talking about it? So that's how much I loved the book, The Dream Giver. Okay. Another one of the books that really was a huge breakthrough for me. And I talked about it briefly on yesterday, and I have the honor and the privilege to interview the author on my podcast. So if you go check out my podcast, thebusspodcast.com, you will actually be able to see the interview that I did with Jay Papasan. But Jay Papasan is co-author with Gary Keller, who is the owner of Keller Williams and creator, founder of Keller Williams. And they wrote the book called The One Thing. The One Thing. Now, the beautiful thing about this, I have no idea where my books are. You know, I had to go along with the powers that be to help me clear out my office. And now stuff is not easily accessible. But the beautiful thing about The One Thing, what it taught, because I had a ton of people send me questions yesterday for our Q&A Tuesday, and it was like, how do you know what to focus on? And what do you do when you feel like you're all over the place and you want to kind of gain some control of what's happening? And this book, The One Thing, I bought this book 3 different ways. I bought the audio version, I bought the ebook, and I bought a hard copy of the book. I think I bought 2 hard copies of the book. So it's irony that I can't find one today. But the beautiful thing about The One Thing is it teaches you the power of focus. It teaches you the power of focus. And what he did that was, it made my life so much easier, was that he categorized it. He broke it down, I think, into 6 different categories or 7 different categories. So he had spiritual, relational, financial, physical, some other stuff, career, right? He had them all mapped out. And he said, what is the one thing that if you did this thing, it will either eliminate or support everything else on your list? What is the one thing that matters? What is the one thing that if you did this, all these other things will fall off? I'm looking to see if I can find the quote. But if you begin to tap into that, and if you guys go look him up, okay, so here's how he says it. What is the one thing that you have? Oh no, this isn't it. Where is it at? I'll find it. It's not here. It's coming. I'll find it. I thought it was here. So anyway, I figured I'll find where that quote is. But he said, what is the one thing that you do that if by doing this, it will go ahead and it'll eliminate everything else? And he talks about, you can't chase 2 rabbits. He talks about extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus, right? He talks about finding what you call the lead domino. Okay, you guys ever remember when we were kids when they had like this little domino effect where you would set up the domino and when you knock one down, it'll knock all these other ones down? He said, find the lead domino that you can be able to put that into place. Okay, and it says success is not built sequentially. Success is built by one thing at a time. Right? One thing at a time. And what happens to many of us is we try to get into this concept of multitasking. I was really, really bad at it. And I did not know I never trained my brain to focus. You guys know we have to learn to train our brain. But I would always allow my brain to do whatever it wanted to do. So the idea of an isolated thought into one specific activity was kind of non-existent in my life, and I didn't even know what it felt like or what it looked like because I was so used to letting my brain run rampant. If I had this idea, I'll run over here. If I had this idea, I'll run over there. If I had this concept of something, I'd do this, right? I was letting my brain loosely follow whatever it desired without a trained focus because I thought multitasking was something to be proud of. I didn't realize that multitasking actually works against you rather than it works for you. And in the book, he breaks it down how much time you lose when you try to do multiple different activities in a day. Just from the process of switching your brain from one activity to the next, it eats up time. So what he teaches us in this book is how to do time blocks. And one of the things he taught me in this book was do the most important things that matter to you in the beginning of your day. So you block, say, from 8 a.m. to 12. That's my time to do this one thing that matters most, okay? Everything else that has to be done, all the to-do lists, the phone calls you got to make, the bills you got to pay, the toilet you got to clean, the clothes you forgot to wash, the clothes that need to go to the cleaner, all that stuff, that gets put after you've done your one key thing for the day. And so the book, The One Thing, okay, thank you, Yashika. She said, what is the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Thank you, thank you. I was trying to find a quote. I have a list of quotes here, but it ain't in there. What is the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Okay? Now, you have to read the book for you to understand all these different processes that he walks you through. But the name of the book is called The One Thing by Jay Papasan and Gary Keller. And it's a definite book that you want to add on your shelves to put you in position to begin to learn how to focus. Like it's so many key nuggets in there that I read that book. I try to read it at least once a year. And the book that I do have is so marked up that it is, it's a really great opportunity for you to learn how to focus. If you have an issue with focusing, like I did. Okay? Now, this other book, I have a bunch of books that I love. But another book that I love is called The Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco. Okay? The Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco. Okay? And what I liked about this book, he's really funny. He's a very brash kind of dude. But what I love about it is for many of us who desire to create success in our lives, we need to understand what that looks like if you desire to build wealth, if you desire to take your life to the next level, whatever that is. How he breaks it up is he talks about different types of people. He talks about you have people who take the sidewalk, okay? You have people who drive in the slow lane, and then you have people who drive in the fast lane, okay? But what I got out of this book, and here's a little biasness to my point. He built a business on the internet that built his millions, and he talked about the power of leverage. And this concept that he came up with, this business, I think it was limousine.com. He came up with like a limousine driving company, and he bought the website and started hosting limousines through there. And he built a website to support where people can start booking limousine services and car services, kind of pre-Uber, right? But the principles that he talks about with getting yourself in the millionaire fast lane from a business standpoint is freaking phenomenal, right? So he talks about the different types of people. He talks about the sidewalkers, where they might view debt as an asset. And so as a sidewalker, you might say, well, I bought a house, that's my asset. When in actuality, that house came with a $300,000 price tag of debt, right? It's not necessarily your leveraged opportunity to create interest, compound interest and residual income and things like that. But sometimes the sidewalk can be like living in the land of the familiar amongst the nobodies, right? He talks about the slow lane. And the slow lane is people who sacrifice today so that you can be better off in the future. So they're slow, but the slow lane is their destination is mediocrity, right? So they might push everything off and they wait till one day, someday, in hopes that it'll produce something, but it doesn't necessarily produce anything, okay? And then the fast laners work hard today on something that people value so that you can become wealthy in the next 5 to 10 years. So these are people who head down, sacrifice, put something together that is brilliant, and it can produce an amazing outcome. He talks about the sidewalkers. They live well today at the expense of having more security tomorrow. Sidewalks, destinations being poor. You kind of got to go through it and see what he goes through. But what he talks about is sacrifice. Of putting an investment in something that is going to produce something in an outcome 5 to 10 years from now, right? Many of us, and it's different for different people. Not everybody on here wants to be an entrepreneur. I know I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs because I am one, okay? And that's something that I'm in this journey on, learning how to produce this process of success as an entrepreneur and produce long-term income and all these different things, creating residual and building your net worth. And I'm learning the language of what we call the wealthy, right? And so when I was reading this book about the fast lane, and one of the things that he talked about that drove him to his drive, like he pushed his drive, was being a kid going to like an ice cream shop. And he passed by a guy that was driving like a Ferrari or not a Maserati, but like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, I think it was. And he asked the guy, he was like, "Whoa, what do you do?" You know, it was kind of like that, the Will Smith movie, right? The Pursuit of Happiness. What do you do for a living? And the guy was an inventor. But he said it was in that moment where he saw this man driving this Lamborghini that he said, "Ooh, what is it that this man does for a living, and how can I shift my life and my future to be able to live like that?" And so he just began to pursue this quest of figuring it out. And he ended up discovering a need, a niche, a problem that was there. And he created a solution from it. He went from being the limo driver to creating a website to support for them to help book limos for people. And that led him to having this big multi-million-dollar company. He sold it. He bought it back. He sold it again. And what does that mean for you guys? Now, not everybody's going to go out here and start a limo website or whatever, right? That was back in his day. Those days are done. Uber has conquered that market, right? But what he talks about is looking for opportunity to fill a gap somewhere where something is lacking that will give you leverage, right? So if you ever watch a Shark Tank, how many of you guys have watched a Shark Tank and said, "I could have came up with that"? Like, really? I knew that was a problem. I thought about that idea, but they produced this thing before I did. A lot of times we're looking for ways to build wealth. We're looking for ways to change our life's future, but opportunity is all around us. And it's not about the idea. It's about the execution of the idea and the commitment to creating that idea into something in real life. And so the Millionaire Fastlane, it's like a list of stuff that we can talk about, but he talks about the dangers of the slow lane, where a lot of us say, well, when I retire, I'll travel, or when I retire, I'll be able to live the good life, or when I retire. But he's like, well, what if your health has deteriorated by the time you retire, right? He gets you to think about what can you do now that'll set you up in the next 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, that'll let you live the life that you really want to live. So you guys can go and discover what this book is all about. But one of his quotes is, "Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go." And what he teaches you is push the envelope in your life. Try to go way further, faster than you ever thought you could, than living a complacent life of doing what everybody else is doing and allowing time to pass you by. What can you create? So what if you fail? Failure is a thing. It's not a person. And so what if you tried something that didn't work? You know, there's tons of stories of people who've tried multiple different things, and finally 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th, 11th time, they finally hit something that worked for them. But the key in the Millionaire Fastlane is go do something today that will potentially position you. And even if it doesn't pan out as planned, what it's doing is reshifting how you think. If you guys know Elon Musk, many of you may not even know who he is, but he's the creator of Tesla, right? He's the man behind Tesla. But Elon Musk was also one of the partners of PayPal, right? He helped to found PayPal. He also is starting another business, Rocket X or something, where they're going to be sending the clean energy rockets to the space or whatever. But if you go research Elon Musk, he's always with his head down coming up with something latest and greatest creation to produce something that will help impact our generation. And it's not, everybody's not going to do it. You know, some of us are not, that's not us. But the question for you is, what can you do? SpaceX, thank you. I couldn't remember what the name was. But what can you do today that will position your life to be differently 3 to 5 years from now? I think back on me when I was in 2007, 2008, when the recession was happening. While everybody was moping and crying about what they were losing, I was sitting around on this computer figuring out what's the next greatest skill that I need to learn to get me to where I need to go. And next thing you know, voila, it pans out, right? And we have to continuously figure out how can we redefine ourselves to reposition ourselves to be where we want to be. So that is the recap for today. You know, I can go on and on about books that I love. Another book that I love is called Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell, right? It teaches you the power of failing forward. I bought that book after we lost everything. I just have a shelf full of books, right? I have tons of books. But what I do want to encourage you guys to do is add 30 minutes of reading into your library every day. Y'all know I love The Science of Getting Rich. You know, these books teach us things that we can apply in our everyday life to begin to change our lives. And so I hope that this helped you guys today. This is my 3 favorite books that I think everybody should read. The first one is The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. Okay, the second one is Jay Papasan and Gary Keller's The One Thing. God, I love that book. I really want y'all to go read that book, listen to the book, research the principles of the book. That book is amazing. The third one was The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. Are you on the sidewalk? Are you in the slow lane? Are you in the fast lane? And listen, some people are okay being on the sidewalk. They like being on a beach cruiser. They like that. And if that's your life, go for it. Not if this doesn't apply. Everything does not apply to everyone. So pick and choose. Like what do they say? They chew up the meat and spit out the bones. Whatever works for you, you take that and you apply it to your life. But these are 3 books that I love: The Dream Giver, The One Thing, and The Millionaire Fastlane. So if this is your first time joining us and you want to stay plugged into what it is that we have going on, oh, by the way, you can get all these books. You can see a list of my books at NicoleSpeaks.com. NicoleSpeaks.com. I have a list of books, my favorite books that are there. You can just click books that I recommend. And on NicoleSpeaks.com, you can see a list of all the books that I add as my favorites. And so grab one, sit down with your favorite cup of Joe or whatever you drink, and enjoy and apply what you learned to your life. And so thank you so much for joining us, guys. Feel free to come on over and join our community at joinmycommunity.com. joinmycommunity.com and get plugged in to what it is that we have going on in our community. So once again, share this with somebody, hopes that it helps them. Yes, join my community. Thank you for sharing. And gosh, I got all this music in front of me and I'm curious, like, which one is explicit and which one is not? This is really bad.
They say one of them should have an E next to it.
Yeah, but even the ones that don't have E's are like, they say words that it's like, whoa. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. I don't know what this is. This is a Chris Brown song. You never know what you're going to get with Chris Brown. Head on over to joinmycommunity.com and join me tomorrow, y'all, on the Rise, Grind, and Shine Go. Oh, this is this one. I don't even know the title of this song. Bye, y'all. I'm such a cornball.